Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 232 based on novel. So let's start. While the old man was silently pondering, Taran, who was lying on the wooden platform, weakly said, "I'm willing." Wang Lin's expression was neutral, and with one step, he arrived next to the wooden platform. He looked at Taran, whose body had been shattered and was on the verge of death. There was already no tattoos on his body. All of the tattoos had entered his body and became the killers that were causing him to die. Wang Lin calmly said, "This spell requires the person being refined to have a firm heart and be completely willing. There mustn't be the slightest hesitation, otherwise, it will definitely fail." Taran revealed a miserable smile and weakly said, "No need to say more. I'm willing." Wang Lin longer wasted time. He grabbed Taran and flew off into the void. As he disappeared into the distance, Wang Lin sent out a message. "Don't disturb me for 3 months." The old man stared at where Wang Lin disappeared to with a complicated expression. Eventually, he clenched his teeth, turned toward everyone, and said, "In 3 months, no matter what happens to Taran, we must attack the mysterious Yin furnace and leave this place." Wang Lin returned to where he was refining treasures with Taran and placed him on the ground. Then he spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy that wrapped around Taran. Finally, he took out the 1 billion soul flag and shook something out from it. This item was the heavenly ghost Wang Lin obtained in the Thunder Celestial realm. The moment it appeared, it roared and struggled. Wang Lin pointed at it and the Karma whip immediately appeared. The whip struck the heavenly ghost several times, causing it to let out miserable groans. At the same time, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he took out another bag. A large amount of celestial jades filled the area. This didn't end. He pondered for a bit and took out more than 10 skulls. These skulls all had complex runes flashing on them. There were the skulls of the Forsaken Immortal clan from planet Suzaku. Wang Lin looked at Taran, who was being refined by his essence origin energy, and calmly said, "I'll use the celestial jades to nourish your body, the heavenly ghost to help you form a soul, and the skulls of your ancestors to help you perfect your tattoos. Taran, I'll gift you a great fortune. If this still doesn't succeed, then it is your luck that was lacking and not me not giving my all." Time flashed by and more than 2 months passed. On this day, the plane Wang Lin was on released a loud rumble. This rumble was so loud that even the chosen Immortal clan members heard it, and all of them flew out. The first person to react was the old man. The current him was extremely haggard, as if several years had passed in these 2 months. He was looking even older. The plane Wang Lin was on was filled with dust and a 20-foot-tall man was walking inside the dust. Every step he took was like a thunderous rumble that echoed through the ground. This burly man had thick eyebrows and his entire body gave off a golden glow. He was like a giant. There were no tattoos on his body, but between his eyebrows was a complex tattoo. It was so complex that just taking a look at it would make you dizzy. The complexity of this rune had exceeded imagination. The burly man's eyes contained intelligence as he walked out of the dust. Wang Lin slowly walked out from behind the giant and his expression revealed a trace of fatigue. He looked at the back of the burly man before him and his eyes revealed a hint of regret. Unfortunately, in the end he could only reach the peak of the corporeal yang stage and was unable to break through into the nirvana scrya stage. Wang Lin's body moved, and when he appeared, he was on the shoulder of the giant. The giant walked toward where the chosen Immortal clan was. "I didn't expect that consuming large amount of celestial jades would not only help Taran's body recover, but also make him grow 1-fold. The heavenly ghost was especially important. If not for that thing, it would have immediately failed on the second step." Wang Lin stood on the shoulder of the burly man and began to ponder. "During each of my successful attempts at creating celestial guards, I integrated the heavenly ghost. I wonder if there is a connection. Could it be that including the heavenly ghost increases the chance of success?" As he pondered, the burly man began to take longer strides. The burly man would often cross hundreds of feet in one step and moved like a gust of wind. In addition, the skulls of the ancestors of the Forsaken Immortal clan were very mysterious. When refining them, they actually fused into one tattoo. In the distance, the members of the chosen Immortal clan flew over and stared at the burly man. The old man was abnormally excited as he quickly flew over and said, "Tarshan." The burly man's expression was cold and he didn't even look at the old man. He stopped under Wang Lin's command and remained motionless. Wang Lin jumped off the burly man and landed on the ground. "Benefactor, Tarshan, he..." Wang Lin calmly said, "I said before that I had no confidence in whether his consciousness will recover after I refine his body. Perhaps he will recover with time." He didn't lie. He hadn't erased Tarshan's consciousness, it was only shattered and still existed inside the body. The old man was startled and was about to ask more when Wang Lin interrupted him. Wang Lin had been stranded here for too long. "Go open the gate to the altar, I'm going to leave." Wang Lin's tone didn't allow any questions. The old man stared at Tarshan before he withdrew his gaze and respectfully nodded. Wang Lin took a step forward and charged toward the entrance of the altar. Along the way, he put away the thunder toad and mosquito beast. Tarshan followed after Wang Lin, and the old man let out a sigh as he and the rest of the chosen Immortal clan followed. When they passed the buildings, a large number of women walked out, and following them were children. They entered the group and headed toward the altar. Soon, Wang Lin appeared outside the altar. Without waiting for Wang Lin's order, the old man's hand formed a seal. The plant between his eyebrows shined brightly, flew out, and landed on the gate. The door slowly rose with a rumble and a moment later it opened completely. At the moment the door opened, a sharp scream came from inside the gate. This voice was very sharp, like sharp swords flying out. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he slapped his bag of holding and the 3 purple flags flew out. They rapidly rotated around Wang Lin to form a purple vortex. The sharp scream was immediately crushed by the purple vortex. "Tarshan, destroy the spirit." As Wang Lin shouted, Tarshan's body shined brightly and he walked through the gate. His gaze was cold as he rushed in and threw a punch. This punch was several times stronger than the ones he threw before he became a celestial guard. The punch created a sonic boom that echoed within the passage. The scattered black mist inside the passage quickly retreated as if it was being blown away. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. This time he was determined to leave no matter what. He charged out like a bolt of lightning and rushed into the gate and down the passage. The chosen Immortal clan members all walked in, and their eyes were filled with determination. A moment later, Wang Lin arrived at the end of the passage where the mysterious yin furnace was. He saw the woman's shadowy figure rapidly whirling around Tarshan and screaming non-stop. Tarshan's expression was normal. He was a celestial guard, meaning his origin soul had already collapsed and fused with his body, so the scream had no effect on him. Even though the scream could harm the body, with how strong his body was, it didn't affect him. As for Wang Lin, he had the ancient god leather armor guarding his origin soul. When that scream touched the leather armor, it immediately collapsed. The shadowy figure of the woman around Tarshan saw Wang Lin and immediately gave up on Tarshan. It went toward Wang Lin with a storm-like wail as if it was going to tear Wang Lin apart. Wang Lin sneered and his hand formed a seal. The 3 flags around him quickly flew out, forming a vortex of purple gas that confronted the incoming sound wave. At the same time, Wang Lin retreated and arrived next to the mysterious yin furnace in one step. Tarshan also arrived next to the furnace as his mind was linked with Wang Lin. When he arrived, he raised his fist and landed on the mysterious yin furnace. Tarshan released his most powerful punch since becoming a celestial guard. Although he had become a celestial guard, some of his instincts still remained. Right now the countless years of hatred he harbored for the mysterious yin furnace exploded through his fist. The complex tattoo between his eyebrows flashed as if it was alive. It flew out and entered Tarshan's fist. His punch also produced a spell fluctuation. There was a very loud bang that caused large amount of gravel to fall. It was as if the entire altar was going to collapse. There was a series of cracking sounds and large amount of cracks appeared on the mysterious yin furnace. The cracks looked like a spider's web. Just at this moment, the woman's shadowy figure surrounded by the three flags let out a crazed scream. It desperately rushed over in an attempt to stop Taran. After Taran threw the first punch, he didn't hesitate to raise his fist and throw another punch. There was a loud bang and the mysterious yin furnace collapsed into countless pieces. Rich, black gas came from the fragments, but the black gas quickly contracted and disappeared into the small transfer array as if it was being sucked away. Along with the black gas was the woman's shadowy figure. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stepped onto the transfer array without any hesitation and shouted, "Shulikwa, are you still not coming back?" One of the surrounding chosen Immortal clan members immediately trembled and black gas came out from between his eyebrows. The black gas turned into Shulikwa. He pondered on the aftertaste and flew toward Wang Lin. After Wang Lin, Taran also stepped out and disappeared without a trace. The surroundings were completely silent and a large amount of dirt fell. It was obvious that this altar could collapse at any moment. The ancestor of the chosen Immortal clan looked at the surrounding clan members before lifting his feet and disappearing into the transfer array. After him, the chosen Immortal clan members walked into the transfer array one by one. They were leaving the place they had lived in and guarded for generations. There was a giant formation inside the dark void of the Nether Beast. This formation was formed from dark red blood. As it floated in the void, bursts of black gas came out from the formation and entered the crystal coffin at the center. There was a body inside the coffin. The body was that of a man. He was very handsome and looked around 20 years old. He was lying inside the coffin as if he was asleep. The black gas from the formation entered the coffin and was absorbed by the man. There was a person sitting cross-legged in the void next to the coffin. This person was wearing a black robe. The large robe was wrapped around his entire body, revealing nothing but his head. His eyes were closed as he cultivated. It was as if he had always been there, guarding the crystal coffin in the formation. Just at this moment, the black-robed man suddenly opened his eyes, looked into the distance, and muttered, "He indeed came. Unfortunately, I'm not strong enough right now to destroy the formation. Otherwise, there would be no need to worry." His eyes lit up and a ray of black light flew out from his body. The light landed 100 feet away and turned into a human figure. This figure gradually condensed and formed into a clone identical to the black-robed man. The clone opened his eyes and waved his hand, causing a blue robe to appear. He moved slightly before charging off into the distance. The black-robed man didn't stop and continued to cast the spell. One by one, more clones appeared. Including the first one, a total of 5 clones rushed off into the distance. Tens of thousands of kilometers away from the black-robed man, there was a flash of colorful light and a giant vortex formed. Wang Lin walked out from inside the vortex. Shulikwa floated around Wang Lin like a ghost. Taran walked out from the vortex right after Wang Lin. A moment later, the members of the chosen Forsaken clan appeared from inside the vortex. Wang Lin's expression was calm as his divine sense spread out and charged forward. However, his eyes quickly narrowed as he saw a person quickly flying over. This person was wearing a blue robe and was one of the clones. So the one I killed before was only a clone. When Wang Lin saw the blue-robed man, he immediately understood. With a thought, Taran charged forward and threw a punch at the blue-robed man. The blue-robed man's expression became gloomy and his hand formed a seal. With a flash of light, a spear appeared in his hand. With a point of his finger, the spear charged toward Taran. Just at this moment, the 4 figures in the distance charged over like a ray of light. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes and he charged out. His right hand moved and the beast bone tattoo on his hand moved and flew out. Masters with a Dao pair, the 5 clones almost exclaimed at the same time when they saw the beast bone tattoo. Their eyes were filled with terror and disbelief. At this moment, even eyes of the black-robed man sitting tens of thousands of kilometers away shined brightly. The Wither Dao pair released a flash of light and an intense killing aura suddenly appeared. The clone fighting with Taran immediately retreated to where the other 4 clones were. Their hands began to form seals and they chanted a complex chant. At the moment the killing intent spread out, a light screen appeared around the 3 clones. The light screen immediately turned grey and was petrified. After the light screen completely turned into stone, cracks appeared on it before it completely shattered. The 5 clones' expressions were slightly pale, but the terror in their eyes was even stronger. There wasn't any hesitation as the 5 clones retreated into the distance. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he took a step forward. He disappeared and then reappeared next to a clone. The moment he appeared, he opened his mouth and spat out a ray of golden light. There was a 3-inch stamp inside the golden light. However, right after it appeared, it immediately grew to 100 feet wide and smashed down at the clone. The aura of this 100-foot stamp was extremely shocking, to the point it was almost solid. The clone's face became pale and all of the power in its body was sealed the moment the stamp descended. In addition, he had a feeling that he was facing the might of the heavens. In a flash, the stamp landed with a bang. The clone let out a miserable groan before his body collapsed. However, as the origin soul was about to escape, the 100-foot stamp went from dim to dazzling. In an instant, its golden glow covered the surrounding 10,000-foot area. It was as if the stamp had become the sun. A miserable scream came from inside the origin soul. His origin soul was immediately pierced by the golden light that formed into many seals, making him unable to escape. It was as if he was being absorbed as he was sucked into the stamp. Not far away, the 4 remaining clones were shocked and were going to continue to retreat. Wang Lin grabbed the stamp and chased closely after them. The 4 clones quickly escaped, but a moment later, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He stopped and revealed a sneer. "You want to lure me away?" He gave up chasing and sat down in the void. Taran arrived to guard him as Wang Lin's divine sense continued to spread. A few breaths of time later, he suddenly opened his eyes and charged toward a direction. The 4 escaping clones suddenly changed directions and charged toward Wang Lin. The fastest one got to within 10,000 feet of Wang Lin when he revealed a decisive gaze. He actually burned his origin soul and flesh, causing his cultivation and speed to explode several-fold. In an instant, he was within 100 feet of Wang Lin and his body exploded. The power of a peak corporeal young cultivator was too strong. A destructive power began to spread and sweep toward Wang Lin. At this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he quickly retreated. He slapped his bag of holding and 3 small flags quickly appeared before rotating around him. At the same time, Wang Lin also took out the mountain and river screen. With a wave, the surroundings became the mountain and river painting. When the explosion happened, the impact of the force caused the painting to distort. Although a lot of the force was negated, some still entered the painting. After all, this was only a copy and not the real mountain and river painting. An opening appeared on the purple vortex after it had blocked some of the force. The destructive force landed on Wang Lin's body and directly charged toward his origin soul. Wang Lin quickly retreated and his expression became pale, but killing intent flashed across his eyes. "Fortunately, I have the ancient god leather armor. Otherwise, if I didn't die to the explosion, I would have been seriously injured." At this moment, the 3 clones all closed in. They all exposed vicious gazes and all revealed auras of exploding as they charged at Wang Lin. They seemed unwilling to stop until they killed Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He would never let the same thing happen again. Instead of retreating, he charged out and pointed with his right hand. The Wither Dao pair flew out and released intense killing intent. One of the clones' feet immediately turned into stone. Wang Lin's figure moved like lightning and appeared before the one that was turning into stone. His finger formed a sword and pointed between the eyebrows of this clone, causing the clone to collapse into countless pieces of stone. At this moment, the remaining 2 clones closed in. Their auras had reached a peak, ready to explode. During this moment of crisis, Wang Lin was extremely calm. He raised his right hand to use the stop spell and one of the clones stopped. At this moment, Taran charged out, grabbed one of the clones, and flew off into the distance. That clone exploded with a loud bang and the impact hit Taran's body. His expression became pale and his body trembled, but he was able to hold out. Although Wang Lin destroyed 2 of the self-destructions in a rout, but the last clone exploded due to the force building up inside the clone's body. When that clone exploded, it created a violent storm that charged straight at Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the celestial ceiling stamp expanded to 1,000 feet before Wang Lin. It wasn't horizontal but stood upright like a 1,000-foot-tall shield before Wang Lin. The sound of the explosion echoed across the void as the explosion hit the stamp with unimaginable force. Wang Lin retreated more than 30 steps with the stamp before he finally stopped. The killing intent in his eyes had reached a limit. After the destructive force passed, Wang Lin charged into the void ahead like a meteor with monstrous killing intent. Taran followed closely behind him. The Wither Dao pair floated above Wang Lin, and below Wang Lin was the celestial ceiling stamp. Using the origin soul trapped inside the stamp as a guide, Wang Lin traveled tens of thousands of kilometers in a flash. Wang Lin eventually saw the huge formation and the crystal coffin inside with his eyes filled with killing intent. He also saw the black-robed man, whose face had a gloomy expression and a hidden trace of shock. There was originally no wind in the void, but with the momentum of the 1,000-foot celestial ceiling stamp, there was a big gust of wind. The wind caused the black-robed man's large robe to move. Wang Lin's pupils shrank as he clearly saw white bones under that black robe. Aside from his head, everything under that black robe was bones. After the wind passed, the black robe covered the person once more. He stared at Wang Lin as his lip moved slightly and a ray of light shot out from between his eyebrows. The moment this black light appeared, it turned into a black short sword that whistled toward Wang Lin. The black-robed man's lips didn't stop and continued to mutter. Rays of black light shot out from between his eyebrows and turned into short swords. In an instant, more than 10 sword shorts were flying toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't move. The black-robed person's cultivation level was very high. He definitely wasn't someone at the illusory yin or corporeal yang stages. However, since his entire body was bones besides his head, that meant that no matter how powerful he was, he couldn't use his full power. Wang Lin's expression was calm. The cultivation this black-robed man could use couldn't be higher than early-stage Nirvana Scryer. At the moment those short swords flew over, Taran stepped out with a thought from Wang Lin. The injuries he suffered earlier couldn't be considered much. At this moment, his body shined brightly as he stepped forward and threw a punch. This punch caused a vortex. The short swords were pulled in by the vortex, but they managed to charge out. The short swords moved like snakes and stabbed into Taran's body. Explosions echoed through the void and Taran coldly waved his fists. Every time his fists hit one, it would knock the short sword back. Even if the short swords dodged the punches, they couldn't cause any damage to his body. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he charged out. His right finger pointed at the Wither Dao pair. The Wither Dao pair flashed and flew toward the black-robed man. At the same time, the world was filled with dense killing intent, and it quickly spread. The moment the killing intent appeared, a grey light appeared on the black-robed man. The black-robed man revealed a complex gaze and let out a sigh. He spoke as if he was muttering to himself. It has been many years since I've seen Master's treasure. Under the black robe, he raised his bone hand. The white bones looked extremely terrifying and made a seal. Not only did the grey light stop, but it quickly retreated and then disappeared. At the moment the grey light disappeared, the black-robed man's lips moved. A ray of white light came from between his eyebrows and turned to a white-feathered fan. The moment the fan appeared, it began to move. A gust of wind suddenly appeared. There was even thunder rumbling inside the wind. In an instant, it turned into a thunderstorm that charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression didn't change. He raised his right hand and pointed at the sky. The celestial ceiling stamp flew into the air and mercilessly smashed down toward the black-robed man with a mysterious sealing force. At the same time, Wang Lin retreated. When the thunderstorm closed in, his ancient thunder dragon soul flew out and devoured the thunderstorm. Rumbles of thunder echoed inside Wang Lin's body, causing him to retreat. When the entire thunderstorm was devoured by his origin, he returned to his body. His face turned slightly red as large amount of thunder stormed through his body. At this moment, the black-robed man had a serious expression. Above him, the celestial sealing stamp was falling down like the might of the heavens. Popping sounds were coming from under his black robe and his face had a hideous expression. His two bone hands rose up to form a seal and he shouted, raising heaven. At the moment the black-robed man raised his hands, a mysterious force suddenly began to gather from within 5,000 kilometers. This mysterious power was like strands of invisible gas, and they gathered toward his hand as if there was a suction force coming from his hand. This mysterious force formed a vortex above his hands. The black-robed man's ferocious expression became even stronger and he mercilessly pushed up. A loud bang echoed across the void. The sound was so loud that the incoming chosen immortal clan members all stopped. Their bodies trembled and they were forced to retreat due to the shockwave. Those with weaker cultivation had blood coming out of their orifices. The celestial sealing stamp trembled and paused for a moment. The black-robed man's face turned slightly pale. Wang Lin immediately charged out, touched his bag, and took out the celestial sword. He chopped down without hesitation. Heavenly chop! The black-robed man's eyes narrowed and soon black light began to gather. The moment the heavenly chop closed in, two rays of light shot out from his eyes and landed on the heavenly chop. The power of the heavenly chop dissipated with a bang. With just this level of cultivation, it isn't even enough to make me move. If this all you got, you're not qualified to own my master's treasure. The black-robed man's hoarse voice was cold. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he stared at the black-robed man. He pointed to the air and softly said, seal, release. Crackling sounds came from the celestial sealing stamp and then a ray of golden light shot out. Then another ray of golden light shot out and in an instant, many rays of golden light appeared. The originally dim celestial sealing stamp shined like the sun. A powerful pressure spread like crazy. There were golden runes flickering on the celestial sealing stamp. Too many of them were densely covering the stamp, at least hundreds of thousands of them. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold and he softly said, descend. In an instant, the celestial sealing stamp descended once more. This time, no matter what force was obstructing it, it wouldn't be able to stop it. It was as if the sky was collapsing. The black-robed man's expression changed greatly as he raised his head and said, 10 dragons, raise the heavens. As he shouted, the black light between his eyebrows shined brightly and 10 dragons flew out. The tails of the black dragons were connected to his head. The 10 dragons let out a roar and charged toward the celestial sealing stamp. Bang! 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 A series of explosions echoed across the void. The 10 dragons charged like crazy, but they weren't able to stop the celestial sealing stamp for even a moment. With each impact, the black dragons received large amounts of shock and were mercilessly knocked back. In the end, the 10 dragons desperately slammed into the stamp together. However, they still couldn't make the celestial sealing stamp stop. Seeing that the stamp was about to land and was only 100 feet away from him, the black-robed man stood up with a gloomy expression. This was the first time he had stood up in countless years. His black robe spread out and covered his entire body. Only his eyes exposed a cold gaze from within the black robe. He let out a cold snort and his body moved. He was about to leave the spot where the celestial sealing stamp was going to smash down. Killing intent flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. At the moment the black-robed man was going to leave, he coldly said, seal. The golden light from the celestial sealing stamp suddenly disappeared and the world immediately turned dark. However, just a moment later, an even brighter glow appeared. One by one, golden runes appeared on the celestial sealing stamp. The runes spread quickly, and soon the entire 10,000 feet area was surrounded by golden runes. The black-robed man's expression was extremely gloomy. He raised his feet to leave, but just at this moment all of the golden runes gathered toward him. At this moment, the golden light filled the area and the runes quickly gathered. In an instant, a layer of golden runes quickly contracted around the black-robed man. The black-robed man's eyes showed a trace of fear. He suddenly jerked his head and stared at the celestial sealing stamp. As the runes condensed around him, he revealed a decisive gaze. The 10 dragons coming out from between his eyebrows let out a fierce roar. A destructive aura spread out as the black-robed man shouted, 10 dragons, shatter the void. One of the black dragons was torn apart by the destructive aura inside its body. It formed a vortex and then exploded. There was a loud explosion. The self-destruction of the black dragon caused the golden runes around the black-robed man to be pushed back. Shortly after, another black dragon exploded. At the same time, the other 8 dragons all exploded. The explosions of the 10 black dragons was unimaginable. All of the golden runes were blown away and even the celestial sealing stamp was thrown back. Wang Lin quickly retreated. Taran gave up on confronting the short swords and arrived before Wang Lin. He opened his arms and used his 20-foot body to block the force. The black-robed man's expression was pale. His body flickered and he finally left the range of the celestial sealing stamp. What a powerful treasure! Even in the celestial realm, this treasure is enough to be famous. The black-robed man's body flew outside the range of the celestial sealing stamp. His eyes lit up as he flew to the top of the celestial sealing stamp. Under the impact of the 10 black dragons, Taran coughed out blood and his eyes dimmed. Wang Lin walked out from behind Taran, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He moved like lightning toward the black-robed man with the celestial sword in his hand. He was too fast. As he charged out, he raised the celestial sword and chopped down 10 times. A total of 10 heavenly chops fused into one and shot toward the black-robed man. The black-robed man's speed didn't change and he flew toward the celestial sealing stamp. He didn't even look at Wang Lin as his right hand formed a seal. A large amount of celestial spiritual energy gathered to form a celestial curtain. This treasure is being wasted in your hands. Might as well give it to me. This video will end here.